Hello students, today we will start a new chapter that's name is Animal Fibers. So let's some recap about the fibers at first. Long ago, human beings used leaves, barks of trees and skins of animals to cover their bodies. Then they learned the art of weaving and started making clothes. Clothes are the things which protect us against heat, cold, rain, dust, and insects. Clothes should be clean and comfortable. Dirty clothes usually sting, breed germs, and cause skin diseases also. Socks and shoes protect your feet from the germs, cold, and heat, and cuts and blisters also. Our shoes should fit well and be comfortable. We should not wear wet socks or wet shoes. Climate and clothes. We wear clothes depending on the climate. In summer, we wear loose, light colored cotton clothes. Cotton clothes allow air to circulate freely, and so the heat of the body escapes. White cotton clothes reflect heat and keep the body cool. They absorb sweat and also prevent the skin irritation. In winter, we wear thick, dark colored clothes made up of wool, fur, or leather. They prevent our body heat from escaping. Dark colored clothes absorb heat and keep the body warm. During the rainy season, we usually wear cotton clothes. We also use raincoat, umbrellas, and gum boots to keep dry. Then we start to go out in the rain. Natural fibers. Some of our clothes are made from the yarn derived from the animal fibers. These are a type of natural fibers as they are obtained from the nature. In the nature, you knew it very well. There are the living things that are the plants and the animals. So, the fiber which we get from these plants and animals are called natural fibers. Certain fibers are not made from the natural sources. Chemicals are used to make such fibers. These fibers are known as synthetic fibers, or you can say man-made fibers, or you can say them artificial fibers also. Plant fibers. These include cotton, the most widely used of the all textile fibers, flax, hemp, jute, etc. The base of the plant fibers is cellulose, which is a material used by the nature as a structural material in the plant world. Animal fibers. These include wool and silk. Wool comes mainly from the fleece of the sheep. We get wool also from the goat, yak, camel, and rabbit. Silk is produced by the cocoon spinning silkworm. Animal fibers are made up of the proteins, the complex compounds that form a major part of the bodies of all animals. Wool. The hair on the body of the wool-yielding animals traps a lot of air. Air spaces between the wool fibers trap air. Since air is a poor conductor of heat, this shields the body from the cold and keeps it warm. That is why woolen clothes are worn in the winters. The fleece of the sheep consists of the two types of fibers, the coarse beard hair and the fine and the soft underhair that grows close to the skin. The underhair provides the fiber for making wool. Scientists who breed sheep have developed a variety of the sheep that only have the soft underhair. Such sheep give not only the better quality of the wool, but the yield per sheep is also higher. Other types of wool: alpaca, llama, and camel. Hair yarns are spun from the fleece of the animals that are members of the camel family. These fibers are soft, warm, and lightweight also. Cashmere is an extremely soft, resilient, and easy to dye fiber. This rare and expensive fiber is combed once a year from the bellies of the cashmere and other goats, which is found only in the mountains of China and Tibet. Angora, which is the combed from the Angora rabbit, is an extremely soft, fluffy, and warm fiber. Mohair, spun from the fleece of the Angora goat, is extremely lightweight. Angora goat is found in the hilly regions such as the Jammu and Kashmir. Mohair comes from the Angora goat, while Angora comes from the Angora rabbit. Yak wool is popular in Tibet and Ladakh. From hair to wool. Rearing. Sheep are reared mainly for their wool. They are mainly reared in the areas with the low rainfall. In India, they are mainly reared in the hills of Jammu and Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Arunachal Pradesh, and Sikkim. Sheep have a lifespan about 10 to 12 years. Lifespan, that is the time from the birth to the death of any living creature. They eat grass and leaves. Reared sheep are also fed on the mixture of the pulses, corn, jowar, oil, figs, as well as minerals also. In winters, they are kept indoors and fed on the dry fodder, leaves, and grains. Now the process shearing comes. Once a sheep develops the thick coat of hair, it is shaved off for getting the wool. The removal of the wool from a sheep is called shearing. It can be done manually with a large razor or with a shearing machine also. Shearing is usually done during the hot season. Now the next process is scouring. The sheared hair is moved through the tubes filled with the soapy water to remove dirt, dust, and grease. This is known as scouring. It is then passed through the series of rollers and dryers. Sorting. Sorting consists of preparing hair of different textures, removing wear, burrs or soft, fluffy fibers in the wool similar to those that often appear on sweaters or for you in which we wear it. These are removed manually. Dyeing. The natural hair of the sheep is white, brown, black. It is dyed in the different colors. Making yarn. Next, the wool is straightened, combed, and spun into yarn. After spinning, the wool is either woven or knitted. Larger fibers are knitted into the wool for the sweaters. The shorter fibers are woven into the woolen cloth. The quality of the wool varies from the one breed of the sheep to another. The quality is decided on the basis of thickness, length, shine, strength, and color of the fiber. Now comes to the next topic, that is the type of breeds of the sheep. Lohi, that is the name of the breed, and the quality of wool they provide is good quality of wool. Next is Nali, that is the carpet wool. Bhakarwal, that is the woolen shawls, that is mainly used for woolen shawls. Marwari, that is the coarse wool, and Patanwadi, that is for the hosiery. Now the topic, that is the silk, comes. Silk yarn is made from the thread-like filaments that a silkworm spins around itself to form its cocoons. It is prized fiber because of its natural lustrous appearance. Silk does not conduct heat and is therefore good insulator, keeping a person warm in the winter and cool in the summer. Now, life cycle of a silk moth. The female silk moth lays eggs. When the eggs hatch, a tiny caterpillar crawls out. This is the silkworm or the larva. The silkworm feeds on the leaves and grows. When it is ready to enter the next stage in its life cycle, it first weaves a net to hold itself. It then secretes a fiber made of protein which hardens on exposure to the air. This is the silk fiber. It covers itself completely with this fiber to form a cocoon. At this stage, the larva, it is called a pupa. The pupa grows and changes inside the cocoon. A few weeks later on, the cocoon opens and an adult moth comes out. The silk yarn is obtained from the cocoon of the silkworm. Now the process sericulture. The breeding and management of the silkworms for the production of the silk is known as sericulture. Different types of the silk with the different textures are obtained from the different variety of the silk moth. Tussar silk, Munga silk and Kosa silk are the three different types of the silk produced from the cocoons of the different variety of silk moths. The most common silk moth is the mulberry silk moth. The silk fiber obtained from this is a very good quality. A female silk moth lays hundreds of the eggs at a time. These eggs are warmed to a temperature suitable for hatching. This is known as incubation. After hatching, the silkworms are fed on the freshly chopped mulberry leaves. For 6 weeks, the worms eat almost continuously and increase in size. At the end of this period, they are ready to spin their cocoons. Branches of the trees and shrubs are placed in their rearing houses. The worms climb these branches and make their cocoon out of the one continuous thread, taking out of 8 days to the process. This is called spinning of the cocoon. The amount of the usable silk in each cocoon is small and is about 5,500 silkworms are required to produce 1 kg of raw silk. After all the cocoons have been gathered, the initial step in the silk manufacture is to kill the insects inside them. Thus, the cocoons are first boiled or treated in ovens, killing the insects by the heat. The silk fiber is obtained from the cocoons by a delicate process known as reeling or filature. The cocoons are first heated into the boiling water to dissolve the gummy substance that holds the cocoon filament in place. After this heating, the filaments from the 4 to 8 cocoons are joined and twisted. This is then combined with the number of other similar twisted filaments to make a thread that is wound on a reel. The resulting thread is called the raw silk. It is woven into the silk cloth by weavers. Now the hazards. Health condition of the workers in the wool and sericulture industry. Workers employed in almost all processes of the sericulture industry are adversely affected by the number of diseases. Sorter's disease. People working in the wool industry sometimes get infected by a bacterium called anthrax. It leads to a fatal blood disease called the Sorter's disease. Respiratory diseases. Inhalation of the vapors arising from the cocoons undergoing steaming, cooking and drilling produces breathing problems such as asthma and other bronchial ailments. Scabies and other skin infections. The first step in the reeling and the boiling cocoons in the water to kill the worms. As a result of the constant dipping in boiling water, the skin of the workers becomes raw and blistered, resulting in peeling of the skin of hands and the feet also. Now finding the real cloth materials. Burns or melts. Silk, wool, artificial, the cloth that is, or artificial cloth or the wool or the silk, they burns or melts. Burns, they also burns, and artificial cloth, they melts. That means whenever we will burn, somewhat we can say that is the characteristic. When we burn silk cloth, it will burn completely. We will burn wool, then that's also burn. But what about the artificial cloth, such as the rayon, nylon, polyester, and others? When they will be burned, they only melts. Now they smell. Silk, no stronger odor. That means there is no specific type of odor present in the silk fiber. Wool, burning hair. Wool is somewhat that gives the odor like the burning hair. Artificial cloth, that is the characteristic odor. A specific type of odor can be produced when we smell it. Now the next, that is the residue. Silk or wool, both dull black hollow bead which crushes easily to become powder. Artificial coat, that is the dark hard bead that will convert into it. Any other type of feature, silk and wool, they are extinguishing. And what about the artificial cloth, that is the nylon? Drops of melted nylon may fall to the ground. Now the summary of the chapter. What you have know by these features, you can just one time give a quick revision. Fibers used to make the clothes may be natural or synthetic. Natural fibers are obtained from the natural sources. They are of two types: animal fibers and plant fibers. Wool is a natural fiber contained from the containing animals, that is the sheep and the other animals also, like llama and many more. Silk is obtained from the cocoon of the silkworms. The breeding and management of the silkworm for the production of silk is known as sericulture. Now the experiment time, that's your lab activity. So today we will discuss about the experimental investigation to differentiate natural silk and wool fibers from the artificial or synthetic fibers. Take about 2 square pieces with the size of 1 inch of the natural silk, wool and synthetic fibers such as nylon, rayon, etc. With the help of a pair of forceps, bring the edge of each piece one by one near the flame of the candle and observe what you have find.